For over 4 decades, the threat of a full-scale ground invasion has hung over Iran, promised by rival nations but never actually executed. In the past, empires built massive, sprawling fortifications to hold the line against rival armies and secure their borders. But we live in an era of radar-evading stealth bombers and complete aerial dominance. Physical brick and mortar mean very little against modern technology. So in an age where a precision drone strike can hit a target from half a world away, why do the world's most powerful militaries still treat a ground campaign in Iran as absolute suicide? The answer is that Iran never needed to build a Great Wall. The entire country is encased in a sprawling, naturally occurring fortress. Imagine a hostile superpower pushes a massive armored invasion across the western border. They hit an obstacle, the Zagros Mountains, a brutal ridgeline stretching 1,000 miles. Tanks and artillery cannot scale these peaks. To advance, the enormous force must filter into narrow, predictable valleys. When an invading army is forced to drive single file through a claustrophobic rock gorge, their numerical superiority vanishes. The defending forces control the high ground, turning the entire pass into an unavoidable choke point. The terrain dictates the battle. The attacking force would suffer crippling casualty rates trying to push through the rocks before their vanguard ever saw the interior of the country. Commanders pivot south to the Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman, planning a massive amphibious landing. This bathymetric chart highlights shallow red zones. Offloading heavy armor requires deep water ports. These shallow waters make it impossible for massive transport ships to approach the shore. Even if infantry managed to hit the sand in smaller landing craft, they would immediately face beaches that sheer upward into imposing, rocky cliffs, offering no way forward. Without a secure port to unload armor, and nowhere to drive it if they did, the Navy is effectively stranded on the beach. Let's assume the absolute worst-case scenario. The invading force takes extreme casualties, miraculously breaches the mountain passes, and spills into the center of the country. What they find waiting for them are the Dasht-e and the Dasht-e deserts. These regions consist of jagged salt plains and severe climates, with surface temperatures baking hot enough to melt the tires off a military supply truck. To reach Tehran, invaders must cross hundreds of miles of wasteland, a defense called strategic depth. Advancing requires long, slow trailing supply lines. These stretched convoys are exposed. Defenders avoid head-on clashes, using mobile units to strike the fragile supply chain's flanks. Without fuel, the tanks stop. Without water, the soldiers drop. The interior desert acts as a massive logistical graveyard, bleeding the invader dry before they can reach their objective. When calculating the friction of mountains, shallow coasts, and the scorching interior, a conventional land invasion of Iran becomes mathematically and logistically impossible. This geographic reality shapes the logic of modern Middle Eastern geopolitics. Because a traditional boots-on-the-ground assault is off the table, rival superpowers are forced to exert pressure through other means. The conflicts we see are fought through crushing economic sanctions, invisible cyber attacks, and funding regional proxy battles. Governments rise and fall, political alliances shift, war technology constantly advances, but the mountains and deserts remain exactly where they are. Iran's natural fortress is the ultimate defense, proving geography still dictates destiny.